Hey everyone! Welcome back! I am back today with more One Punch Man! You guys, I am really excited to be watching today. If you're joining me early, you know what it means. It means you are one of my awesome patrons. Thank you so much, and as always, I'm sending you up those big old hugs right through that screen. And if not, still thank you for joining me today. I'm glad you're here. I do hope you'll consider supporting me that way. The link to my Patreon is going to be in the description down below. So, I really enjoyed the last episode of One Punch Man. I thought the way that the tournament ended was really, really fun. And I love that Saitama was just kind of, as he always is, he was just kind of like there along for the ride, like seeing what was going to happen before he finally decided to like not even get serious, but just like even put forth a modicum of effort. And it's funny because, okay, I'm going to try to say his name, Suiryu. Oh my god, I did it! Did I do it? Suiryu? Oh my lord. Thank you to everyone who tried to help me out with the pronunciation of that. I had a really hard time with that last time. So he kind of struck me at first as being really similar to Saitama. It kind of sounded like, you know, he was just kind of like naturally very strong. He didn't, he didn't have any kind of like really, well, he did have training, but, you know, it didn't sound like, oh, he really has to work at like being as strong as he is. It kind of sounded like he wasn't working that hard at it. Maybe he was just trying to sound nonchalant. I don't know. But like they kind of seem to have a similar approach to things at first. But boy, like 5 minutes of hearing him talk and Saitama was like, nuh-uh. He had his serious eyes. All he had to do was hear about how, like, oh, heroes are just, you know, oh, how nice to, like, fight monsters and want everyone to, like, look up to you and everything, and just being really, like, kind of bitter about the whole hero thing. And, you know, Saitama doesn't take a lot of things seriously, but the things he does, like, I feel like don't mess with that, you know? Because we saw back in season 1 how important it was to him that the other heroes who really, like, worked hard and got their butts kicked by the Sea King, the big sea monster, you know, he had no qualms about putting himself in a position where he looked like a cheater to, like, put them over and make sure that they got credit and everything. So, you know, the things that he does care about, it's like, don't mess with them. And I loved that, like, I knew as soon as, like, he had his serious eyes when the guy was talking to him, I'm like, it's over. But it was fun the way that it happened, and now I just have this feeling, I don't know if we're gonna see Suiryu again, but if we do, I feel like it's gonna be a Sonic situation where, like, he can't get past the fact that he lost to Saitama. He didn't really lose, he won on a technicality, but, I think it was pretty obvious that, you know, like, Saitama was just he was no match for Saitama. Because you could tell at the end, like, he was not having it. So, meanwhile, like, the battle rages on with this whole, Monster Association thing. We got a lot more info on that last time. We found out that, apparently, like, the people who are, perpetrating, the monsters who are perpetrating all of this, are creating lots of monsters by giving people monster cells. So I think it's really interesting that we are addressing the state of society in this. Like, it is like a funny comedy and everything, but there is also like some distinct world building involved because we know, like, we heard Snek's inner monologue about how, you know, like, gee, it just seems like people are just getting stronger and stronger, including monsters. And, like, here are these heroes, like, breaking their backs, just trying to keep up. And, like, they're not even in the same ballpark as, you know, a lot of these monsters and even, like, some heroes. So I think it's really interesting to introduce the element of, like, well, hey, you know, these monster cells will make you super powerful really quick. Really, really fun concept, and I wonder where they're going with it. So we already saw, like, one of the Holy Order of the Sword, I think that's their name, people just went ahead and, like, drank the monster cells. So, yeah, so Garo seems like kind of at the bottom of the list right now. Like, apparently he's still around, but we're just going to deal with, like, the whole Monster Association thing first. But I'm glad that, like, Garo's not out of the picture, and I'm really hoping he shows back up and does some stuff soon, because I was really liking Garo. I have to admit, like, I wasn't looking at him as, like, a villain. I was looking at him as, like, an interesting opposite, like, kind of like a foil to some of the other characters, but also, like, kind of a legit likable character in his own way. I don't know if he'll stay that way, but we'll see. So I'm very excited to continue on. I am really making my way into the season now. I think this is episode 8 of 12 of the season, I believe. So what do you say we get started with next episode of One Punch Man? Let's go. You guys, that was so good. It's amazing to me that they have built up the kind of, like, background characters of the show so well, just, like, subtly over the course of time, that when you look at that episode, Saitama was barely even in that. And that was still, like, a really interesting episode, just focusing on the other characters and other events going on. Like, Genos was not in that episode. Saitama was barely in the episode. And yet they've really done a very good, subtle building of, like, different arcs for the different, even characters we don't see that much. Which is really awesome. And that's hard to do, It's hard to do on a show to, like, build up characters kind of, like, progressively just when you have them, they're getting some screen time, when Snek and Lightning Max showed up, I'm like, that's what being a hero is all about. That is what it's all about. And boy, did Suiryu change his tune real quick when he was in trouble. So at first I was like, he must be so strong. He must be, like, S-class level strong. But I didn't realize, like, it's good to have the perspective. I'm glad they kind of threw that line in there that, like, Goketsu would not be a match for S-class heroes. So what class are Snek and Lightning Max? Are they B or A? I thought they were A, maybe? I'm not sure. I thought Snek was A, but I'm probably wrong about that. I get, you guys, I get confused. But let's just say they're not S-class. They're either A or B, and, so I would put maybe Suiryu, he's probably maybe along the lines of, like, an A or a B then. He is mad strong. Like, I did not realize just how strong he was. Because, like, when you see someone go up against Saitama, it's so hard to tell, like, where do they even rank? Where do they even stand, Because, like, no one can stand up to Saitama. So, if Goketsu could not match an S-class hero, he's about to just get, like, boop, and, like, sent off, like, Team Rocket blasting off again by Saitama. Like, there's just not even gonna be any contest whatsoever. But boy, great cue for a hero moment there at the end with Suiryu just, like, reaching out his hand. Can anyone hear me? Oh, so dramatic, but I love it. I just love it. I'm a sucker for moments like that. Okay, so I was surprised, but also not surprised by how many of the fighters were like, yeah, give me monster cells. And, like, some of them were just like, oh, if I have to do it to survive, like, you could tell they didn't want to do it. And, like, I give Suiryu a lot of credit for, like, he is his own person, like, yes, he's kind of maybe, like, a little shallow. He's been a little superficial about the way he lives his life, maybe some could say. And he's been really judgy about heroes. But at the same time, he's not, like, a bad guy. Like, he definitely had some pretty cool moments there against the monsters. But yeah, I think he's going to have a whole new perspective on heroes. You know, the way he was talking about them last episode, like, oh, they just kind of showboat and like to get people to look up to them and want everyone to be grateful to them and everything. But you can tell, like, the firsthand experience is probably going to change him drastically. But yeah, so apparently the monsters were doing this in, like, 3 phases, and this was, like, the 3rd phase, like, turning martial artists into, turning, like, anyone who seemed, like, mildly valuable to the cause into monsters. But they did mention, like, yeah, like, we do crave violence as monsters, but there is kind of an agenda past that. So I'm curious, like, what's the agenda past that? That's probably, like, if they just wanted to rampage, it would probably be a lot simpler. But the fact that there's, like, something more to it is going to make it, probably a little bit more complicated. Also, Garo in Watchdog Man. Okay, so Watchdog Man is adorable, and I really like him, and, so remember how I was saying, like, I liked Garo so much? I'm like, Garo better not hurt Watchdog Man. Although it looked like he couldn't quite do a lot of damage to him. We'll see. We will see. I'm glad to see more of Watchdog Man. It's really, like I was saying before, it's really fun that, like, they do a good job of, you know, giving some of these characters that, like, maybe you've seen briefly, like, you know, sitting around the table at the conference that they had at the end of season 1. Like, they're gonna give them all, like, a little spotlight. So I think that's pretty cool. Really, really well done. That, like, a show that's primarily just about, like, Saitama just living his best life, can also do that and do a really good job of it. So I loved it. I can't wait to see the next one. Oh my god, Saitama's here. Was so happy to see him show up. What a great ending. I hope you guys had as much fun with that episode as I did. I had a blast. Thank you so much for joining me today. Please be sure to join me next time and we will watch it together. Bye for now, guys.